Being with us, Travis.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Happy to be here. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Literally right in the afternoon there in Southern California. I would swap places with you. We've got a wind chill that's like 14 degrees here in St. Louis today. So Southern California looks good right now, as well as everyone else join in from wherever everyone's joining in via Zoom. Happy to be here. Excited. Where are all the teens at? Raise your hand if you're a teen. There's some teens in the house. Anyone there? Or if you're a teen in spirit, yeah, right? Maybe more. Yeah, okay, there we go. More hands up. So I'll be talking to the teenagers as well as the teenagers in spirit today, and really excited. As Mike and I kind of talked about this topic a little bit, and what I could share that might be relevant or helpful based on my experiences. What we came up with is this idea of living your authentic brilliance. And I'll talk about why that term, living your authentic brilliance, means something to me. But I'll just go ahead and share a little bit about myself, my background, why Christian Science has been such an integral part of my life and my journey, my experiences, how I've used it to sort of navigate life up until this point, and really how I use it as a foundation, as a tool in every aspect of my life, especially in my work when it comes to being a mindset coach and a leadership coach, and working with organizations and youth, college, and professional athletes. So here we go. So, all right. I'm going to do an activity. Now, typically when I do this, unless I don't know, is I saw there's like a Jay Harrison on the Zoom. Is that Jane Harrison by chance? I'm just curious. That Jay Harrison who's on the Zoom, are they there? Are they there, or did they just turn their camera on and then walk away? Huh? Huh? What about Kirsten? Kirsten Agnew. Kirsten, are you there on the Zoom? We got all these bots signing up for the event. What about Claudia? Claudia, are you there? Susan? Gay? First person to turn their camera on wins a prize. First person to turn their Zoom camera on. I'm getting I'm getting a thumbs up from Claudia. Oh, John Harrison. Okay, sorry. I know a Jane Harrison here in St. Louis. How about this, Mike? Um, Mike, go ahead and hand the microphone to someone in the audience that can see me and hear me, and then so that I can see and hear them. Who do we have? All right, go ahead and hopefully go ahead and say hello.
Hello?
Hello, what's your name?
I'm Olivia.
Olivia, how are you doing today? Olivia, are you one of the teens that are in the house today?
I am, in fact, one of the teens that is in the house today.
Olivia, I love it. Olivia, so you're going to do this with me. Everyone else is going to do it, but they're going to do it inside their head. You're going to do it out loud with me, Olivia. Olivia, what's going to happen is I'm going to say a word to you. There is no wrong answer. Olivia, whatever that word makes you think of, I want you to say that word back to me. So if I said peanuts and you said baseball, and then baseball makes me think of bases makes you think. So whatever the word that I say to you gives you a word back to me, and then that makes me think of a word. And so all we're ever doing is responding to the last word that was given to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Olivia, the only thing I'm going to ask is that you're at church right now, right? You know, try not to say anything too appropriate, right? We don't want to get you kicked out of
Okay,
church
okay.
at the beginning of the teen talk. All right. So
I
just
appreciate that.
nothing too
Yeah,
inappropriate. Okay. Awesome. Are
okay.
you ready?
Noted. I think
Awesome.
so.
All right, here we go. And we're going, don't overthink it. There is no wrong answer. Just go for speed, but listen to the word that's given to you. Okay. All right, here you go. First word coming to you: ocean,
Sailor.
boat.
Crew.
Oh, white shirt.
Polo.
Oh, horse.
Athlete.
Run.
Jog.
Sprint.
Fast.
Cheetah.
Cat.
Whiskers.
Kitten.
Meow.
Woof.
Howl at the moon.
Stars.
Twilight.
Werewolf.
Vampire.
Zombie.
Movie.
Toy Story.
Oh, animation.
Disney.
Pixar.
DreamWorks.
Shrek.
Princess.
We'll end it right there. Give Olivia a round of applause. There we go. Olivia, keep the mic. Keep the mic. All right, Olivia, how do you feel?
I feel all right.
All right, you got some energy? You feel
Yeah,
energized a little bit? All right.
definitely.
All right, Olivia. So let me ask you this. Are you focused? Are you focused? Were you focused during that activity?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you thinking about what was happening before the talk?
No.
Were you
No.
thinking about what you're going to do after the meeting?
Not at that moment, no.
No. Where were you focused in that moment?
I was focused on what you were saying. I was
You were
focused on.
focused on what I was saying. You were in the present moment, correct? You weren't thinking about the past. You weren't thinking about the future. You were
No.
right here in the present moment, responding to the next idea that was given to you. And if I were to ask everyone else in the room, you were doing the same thing in your head. Whatever word you heard, you were saying in your head what word you would say. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say everyone during that activity were in the present moment. Because, Olivia, where is life happening?
Now.
Now, right here, right now. You are nowhere else in the world than where you are right here, right now. Life is not what's happening 30 minutes from now, and it's not what happened 30 minutes ago, 30 weeks ago, 30 years ago. Life is happening right here and right now. So, as a performance coach and as a mindset coach, what I help athletes or just anybody in general, I remind them that the starting point to doing anything well, the starting point to happiness, the starting point to healing is our ability to be present, to be right here, right now. Because in this moment, right here, right now, Olivia, do you have everything that you need? Yeah,
Yes.
you have everything that you need, right? Because you're here, you have it. And so when I think about spirituality, when I think about God's love, when I think about God's guidance, it's fear always takes us to the future or it takes us to the past. It takes us out of the present moment. The reality is that we have everything that we need right here in this moment. And this is the only place that life is happening. So I can ask myself right here and right now, what do I need? Well, God's given it to me. So what can I do in this moment to respond with love? That's it. And then what do? We create the next moment. And then what do? I respond with love. And then it creates a new moment because every new word, Olivia, created the next reality, the next moment. And all we had to do then is respond to that. So as we talk about this a little bit more, we'll be like, okay, well, how do I respond to the moment with love? And so I would say, well, rely on your purpose. Rely on that inner spiritual foundation that feels like an authentic response. So Olivia, thank you so much for volunteering. I really appreciate it. A lot easier to do when I had someone to do that with. Excellent. So remember, life is always happening in the present moment. Performance is always in the present moment. Most of my work is helping people, especially athletes, learn how to stay in the present moment because that's when we're going to perform at our best. Everything else is a distraction. All right. So quick background about me, y'all, is I grew up in Flint, Michigan. I grew up in a Sunday school in Flint, Michigan. Went to Christian Science Sunday school my whole life. And for whatever reason, like for me growing up, even though I didn't have it wasn't like I had a crazy vibrant, the Sunday school was essentially my siblings and my cousins and in a basement. And it wasn't like, whoo, that's such an exciting Sunday school experience. But for me, it just like resonated. Like spirituality, Christian Science resonated with me as a child. I don't know why, but it did. So as I got older, I just kind of felt like, yeah, I get like this works for me. This works for me. And so I ended up going to Principia College, actually wearing a Principia gold and blue shirt right now. I went to Principia College, met my wife there. We got married right out of school. She and I ended up moving to Boston. We took jobs at the Mother Church, late 90s. I was working the reading room department. She was working for the publisher's office. I then was part of the original spirituality.com crew. For those of you who remember the spirituality.com days, yeah, shout out to my spirituality.com crew. Some of the best years of my life was working with that team. But also, my wife and I were both teaching in the Mother Church Sunday School, which was a lot of fun. And so had a blast doing that. We were there for 5 years. But during that time is when we went to a show at a theater in Boston that had just opened in the North End called the Improv Asylum. They do improvisational comedy. And I was blown away at how talented these performers were. I wanted to learn how they did it because it was so impressive. And so they had a training center, and I signed up for a level 1 class. Well, a level 1 class turned into a level 2 class, turned into a level 3 class, turned into 6 levels of training over a year and a half. And then I graduated from the training center. I was the first ever graduating class of the Improv Asylum. And they said, you should audition for the touring company. So I'm like, sure, that'd be a great experience. So I auditioned for the touring company, made the touring company. And over the next 2 to 3 years, I worked my way up from the touring company to the developmental cast to the main stage cast. And so I was working at the Mother Church. I was like a superhero. I was working during the Mother Church during the day. And I wasn't solving crime at night, but I was making people laugh at nights and on weekends at the Improv Asylum Theater. So we did that for a few years. My wife and I, we moved to Florida in the early 2000s. I started a group with those two gentlemen called the Jove Comedy. We did our first show in 2004, and working now, we all kind of live separately in different places, but 2 or 3 times a year we come together for a show. And so this will be our 21st year that we've been performing together. We're going to do a show in December. Well, it was shortly after we got to Florida that I realized I knew the kind of work I wanted to get back into. I wanted to use this new skill, this gift of improvisation that was really transformational for me, especially having the spiritual background that I had, and then looking at improvisation through this lens from a spiritual perspective. And I wanted to bring that to people. So I realized I wanted to kind of get back into coaching, like mindset coaching, performance coaching, leadership coaching, executive coaching. So I did a couple of years of a pretty intense training on mindset and personal development. And then that started a crazy journey for the last 20 years. And that which sent me into being a house parent at the Principia School. It sent me doing executive coaching, leadership coaching. It sent me down the road of a lot of unemployment. Yep, a lot of unemployment. It led me to a job at this place called IMG Academy down in Florida. It's like Hogwarts Academy for athletes. So athletes from all over the world playing 7 to 8 different sports. I was there every day as a leadership coach, using mental performance and leadership skills and improvisation to help these young athletes become better people and become better athletes. I left that in 2015 to start just being a speaker and a consultant on my own, speaking to companies, speaking to sports teams. Those are some of the sports teams on the screen there that I've worked with. I was teaching a college class at Lynn University in South Florida, a program called the Watson Institute to Socially Conscious Entrepreneurs. That's my family there. That picture is a couple years old. My wife and I just celebrated anniversary year 29, and my youngest there on the far right graduates from the Principia School here this coming year. And my other 2 graduated there recently. One just graduated from St. Louis University, and one's a runner at Principia College currently. And my wife is in Boston right now for her association, and she works for an organization called the Euphrates Institute. Some of you in the room may know the Euphrates Institute. If not, make sure you check it out. Started by another Principia alum. They're doing global peace building all around the world. Hey, they're always looking for donations. Feel free to reach out if anyone wants to make a donation to the Euphrates Institute. All right, that's my shameless plug. All right. So for the last 10 years, I wrote my first book in 2016 called Three Words. There it is up in the corner. Three words for getting unstuck. Those three words are live, yes, and. The reason the unstuckness, my company is called Live, Yes, and. Yes, and is the basis of improvisation. And so when I looked at what I wanted to share with the world, is how do you apply that to every aspect of your life? And what is the spiritual foundation to it? And so that's the book that I wrote in 2016, right after I left IMG in 2015. I spent the next few years starting to work with companies and sports teams, from the University of Georgia football to the Chicago Cubs. I was with FC Dallas for 2 years recently. Limitless Minds is an organization I've been with since they started around 2018. And we go in and do mindset training with companies all over the world. That's where I do most of my work right now, in addition to my own Live Yes and work. Then I had the dream job come true. I sent my first book as a cold copy to the head coach of the U.S. men's national soccer team, and which cold copies, nothing ever happens with a cold copy. And this is towards the end of 2019. He sent me a text back. Hey, I got your book. Thanks for sending it. I was like, whoa, I can't believe he responded. He read the book. And at the end of 2019, he asked me if I wanted to come in as a trial to work with the U.S. men's national soccer team, the beginning of 2020. We negotiated a 6-month trial contract. And that 6 months turned into 3 years as their leadership and team dynamics coach. From getting a beer thrown over my head in that picture in the upper left-hand corner, and you can see the beer flying over my head right there, to being a part of the World Cup qualifying process. That's the picture from the locker room in Costa Rica after we qualified for the World Cup, and then going to the World Cup in Qatar, and just being there for that entire experience, being with the team as part of the coaching staff, and just being there for that ride as a very mediocre Division III soccer player. It was a dream come true. And so for the last 3 years since that, I continue to do a lot of the public speaking, keynote addresses. I've been with St. Louis University's men's soccer team now for this is season 5 with me. I was with FC Dallas for 2 years. And then this past year, I wrote and published my newest book, which is called Confidence is Overrated, which Mike talked about. Why Courage is the Antidote and Feelings Make Cowards of Us All. So I love to say this is the book I needed when I was a child. It's not a book for children. It's the book, though, that I needed when I was a child. And the feedback to the book has really been phenomenal. So really, really excited about that. And which brings me to this concept of purpose. Early on in my personal journey, one of the things that during the training I was doing, we were invited to think about the concept of purpose. And I think this is a big part of, even before I had an articulated purpose, I realized that all the work and the life I was wanting to live was driven by something spiritual. And once I finally did a lot of self-work is when I was given the opportunity to articulate that purpose. And so this has really been my working purpose for, just about 20 years now. And my purpose is to inspire myself and others to live their authentic brilliance. And so if you notice, my belief, a purpose is not a thing that you do. It's not a person. It's not, if it can be taken away from you, it's not your purpose. It might be a passion. I love my kids and I love my wife, but they're not my purpose. They're all going to grow and evolve and have their own lives. And I love them, but they can't be my purpose. But my purpose is deeper than that. It's bigger than that. So I really get fired up, not only to keep kind of improving myself, but to have work where I get a chance to help others live into their brilliance, not my brilliance, their brilliance. So I try to do that as a parent, probably fail a lot. I try to do it as a spouse. I know I fail a lot. But if I look at I think I did the math I went in and spoke to career day a few times. How many jobs have I had? From college on? And it was like, I think close to 50 different jobs. Now, some of those were unpaid, some of those were short term, some of those were contracts, some of those were full time. But I'm like, okay, wow, like I've done a lot of things. The constant through line with all of them was I able to express my purpose in all of those things? And the answer is yeah. Anywhere I show up, I have the opportunity to inspire myself and others to live their authentic brilliance. So then purpose becomes how I show up and what is motivating me, not the what that I'm doing. It's not the what that you're doing. It's the how and the why that you're doing it, which is going to inform how you show up. So that's what I mean by purpose. So yeah, my purpose in action is, I have my own brand called Live Yes And. I'm a head coach for Limitless Minds. I've worked with SLU. I was all these different things that I do, but these are just the things I bring my purpose to. They are not my purpose. So if you're sitting there as a teen or a teenager in heart, and we go through never-ending transitions through our whole life, and maybe you're feeling a certain kind of stuckness at some point in your life. What should I do next? Or what do I do now? We can get stuck in the what instead of just saying like, well, what opportunity do I have in front of me? Or what's the thing that I want to try? And the what is less important than the purpose that you bring to what you're doing. I can pick you up and drop you anywhere in the world. Your purpose doesn't change. And so when we think of it from that standpoint, it's not about what we're doing. If we just trust, if we stay on purpose and we're spiritually grounded, right, we're going to continue to move forward. And that's where the trust divine planning, the divine unfolding. And if I'm on purpose, that path will continue to open up. We connect dots in reverse. It's really easy to connect dots in reverse. Go, oh yeah, the reason this happened is because of this, and then this happened, and then this happened. Yeah, that's great. Looking back, when you're looking forward, you're going, how in the world is this ever going to work out? How am I going to turn this into a career? How am I going to provide for my family? The questions that I asked for years, but I kept coming back to, is what I'm doing right now on purpose? I'm like, yeah, it is, but no buts. Right. All right. Is this what you feel like you're supposed to be doing today? Yeah, but no buts. All right. I love from the Bible, work, watch and pray. It's not pray, work and watch. It's not watch, work and pray. It's work. And work, I don't mean like that grind mentality. I mean, for me, work is keep moving, keep doing, right? You're praying while you do it, right? Moving your feet is often the best prayer. And if you're being led by that purpose, which is, that heart divine space, it's going to keep on moving you in a divine direction. Yeah. Hey, is there anyone else there in the church? Any other teens there that can do the next activity with me? Someone we can pass that mic to do the next activity?
Hello,
Hello, who am I talking to?
I'm Violet.
Violet. We've had Olivia. We've had Violet. All right, Violet. Violet, how old are you?
I'm 19.
19, Violet. I love it. Violet, what's going to happen is we're going to tell a story to the rest of the group, okay?
Okay.
Violet, this is how we're going to tell the story. You and I are going to pretend that we are long lost friends and we haven't seen each other in years. And tomorrow, we're going to go off and have an awesome day that you and I have already planned, right? But the rest of the church, they don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. You and I know So we're going to tell them, Violet, we're going to tell them one idea at a time. And the way we're going to do this, Violet, is really simple. This is called yes and, Violet. So whatever I say to you, you're going to listen to it, and then you're going to say yes, and you're going to add on another idea to the idea that I gave you, which is going to give me an idea back, which I'm going to say yes and add on to your idea. And you're going to say yes and add on to my idea. Do you see how this is just going to keep going, Violet?
Yes, I understand.
Awesome. So there's no yes, but. There's no but. It's just yes and then you just, whatever I say to you, you just add on to it with a yes and. Make sense?
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome, Violet. Violet, I am so excited about the day that we have planned tomorrow. I'm so nervous about the surf lessons that you scheduled for tomorrow.
Yes, and I'm also very nervous about the surf lesson that we are going on.
Yes, because the last time you and I went surfing, we saw a shark.
Yes, and we also saw a lot of jellyfish that could sting you.
Yes. And so there we were trying to catch waves, having to avoid sharks and jellyfish, and you saved my life.
Yes, and you also saved my life by providing that support when catching a big wave.
Yes, I caught that big wave and I pulled you up on the board right as the shark was getting ready to catch you.
Yes, and the jellyfishes were also following us when you were saving me.
Yes, and you were knocking them off the board with your elbows and yet not getting stung.
Yes, and it was a very chaotic moment, but I remember the you saving me and being acting like as a hero.
Yeah. And what I remember as we were surfing to safety on shore, you were just screaming out loud, "Divine love always has met and always will meet every human need." And we ended up on shore.
Yes, and I was screaming out the golden rule: love your neighbor as thyself.
Yes.
Or treat others as how you want to be treated.
Yeah. And then the lifeguards heard you and they came and they made sure we were okay. And tomorrow, when we go back to the beach, we're going to take them gift cards.
Yes, and we are also going to bring them treats from the bakery.
Yes. And you are this amazing baker that the bakery that we're getting them from, that's your recipe.
Yes, and you are also going to bring them your secret recipe for like providing them lunch.
Yes. I've got this amazing banana bread recipe, Violet. Now listen, Violet, I don't want to tell anybody else. I'm going to tell you the secret recipe: cinnamon. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody though, especially not the whole church.
Yes, and I won't tell anyone. No one's with me right now. I'm alone in my room. I won't tell anyone.
Yes, and you're a horrible liar, Violet. I can see everyone sitting around you right now.
Thank you. Yes, and I accept that I'm a liar.
All right, well, end it right there, Violet. Great job. Give Violet some love. All right, Violet, how do you feel?
I feel like that was challenging, but it also opened my mind to make up something on the spot.
Yeah, you didn't look challenged. You did great. You were right there with every response. And so when you think about, let me ask you, Violet. So what we did, right? We told the story by having to say yes and to each new idea. So if you were to describe what the yes meant, what does yes in this activity, what does yes like really mean? What were we doing when we say yes?
Like agreeing with that person.
Yeah, right. I agree. You give me an idea and I agree with it, which means that you and I are on the same page. We're not disagreeing or battling with one another, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So we were always working with one another instead of against one another. I love that. What does the and then represent?
Adding on to that idea.
Adding on. Yeah, adding on to move it forward, right? So we were always moving the story forward because we said yes to it. Yes means it's happening. The and is, how do we move it forward?
Yes.
You're awesome. Let's give her a round of applause one more time. Thank you, Violet. I wish everyone that I used as a volunteer was that good. Excellent job. All right. So, like Violet described, this is the basis of improvisation. This is what you learn in class 1. That all improv is based on yes and. So when I take the stage with anybody, as long as we adhere to yes and, we're going to tell a story when we're on the same page and we're building off of each other's ideas. Do you all see the spiritual ramifications of yes and? Do you see that? Does it make sense how instead of arguing against what is happening, you're working with it? And if we're working with it from a spiritual standpoint, we're always moving forward. And so as I was learning this in improvisation, I started thinking about, well, shouldn't I be yes-anding in my marriage? Shouldn't I be yes-anding at work? And I thought about all my sports teams that I grew up playing. Man, shouldn't have I had a yes-and mindset on those teams? And shouldn't coaches and parents and teachers and Sunday school teachers have a yes-and mindset when it comes to working with people? And then as I become a mindset coach, and I started to understand and learn the best principles for teaching mindset to people, I'm like, this is yes and. Because, like I've got on the screen here, when you are demonstrating yes and, you are in radical collaboration with reality. Radical collaboration. Because when we say no to something, what are we doing? Now, some of you, your antennas are going up with, well, how do I say yes and to this? Or how do I say yes and to error? We'll get there. When you say no and you ignore something you're being challenged with, you're in denial. And when you're in denial, you're stuck. Because you cannot progress until you say yes. Yes is acceptance of the reality that you're dealing with. If I, and this is where I was going to be working at a summer camp years ago, and the director called me ahead of time. He's like, hey, before you come here and start work, I need to know a little bit more about what you mean by yes and in regards to Christian Science and error and all that. I was like, all right, shoot, what do you got? He's like, so if someone comes to you and says, you know, hey, I'm sick, are you going to say yes? Yes, you are sick. I'm going to go, well, I said, no. I said, but I am going to say yes. I'm going to say, if they come to me and say, hey, I woke up and I'm, you know, feeling like I have a cold or the flu, right? If we really want to apply yes and, the yes is going to be yes. You believe right now that you have a cold or a flu. That's your current reality. We're taught in Christian Science to say no to the error. But you can't say no to the error until you actually accept that you're being confronted by an error. That's the yes. Because I would say yes, and I'm going to say no to this mortal suggestion. I'm going to say, yes, I feel like I have the symptoms of blank, and I'm going to call my practitioner, and I'm going to actually read my lesson, and I'm going to say the scientific statement of being. Because if I just say, no, I can't, no, there's no error, there's no sick, I'm just going to plug my ears and ignore it. I'm going to put a spiritual bypass on it. I'm not actually going to address it. I'm going to bypass it. I'm going to ignore it. Well, that's not healing it. That's not handling it. So whatever we're being confronted with, yeah, this is what do you want to call it? The belief of, or whatever the picture is, that's what you're being confronted with. So I see it. That's what I'm being confronted with. And now what am I going to do about it? And that's where my spiritual response is. That's where I rely on truth. And this is why having a yes and mindset has been transformational for not only my spiritual journey, but how I respond to any challenge in life and how I help others respond to those challenges as well. Because the majority of the people I work with do not have a Christian Science background. And this gives me a tool to speak in whatever language or whatever background or belief system that they have, which still allows us to deal with the challenge and then respond to it. And so I love to tell people that we cannot control 100% of what happens to us. None of us. We don't control 100% of what happens to us. And we control 100% of how we respond. So when we have stress, fear, and anxiety in our life, that's because we're trying to control an outcome that we can't control. Period. But what can I always do? I can control how I'm responding to a challenge, how I'm responding to a picture, how I'm responding to my own thought. I focus my energy on how I respond to situations. I let go, I surrender control. I give that back to God. Don't know why I tried to take it from her in the first place. Right? GITG. It's the prayer I say more often than anything right now. GITG, give it to God. All right. Wow, that's way above my pay grade. I'm going to give it to God, and I'm going to focus on my response to the situation. But I am not controlling it, and I never have, and I never will. So all that stress and anxiety and fear that we have is a belief that we need to try to control the outcome, but we never do. But I control my response to everything that I'm being confronted with. And you know what? If I actually focus on controlling my responses and having the best possible yes and response, yes and, yes and, yes and, where's life happening, Olivia? Now, 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 yes and, yes and, yes and, now, now, now. I am constantly showing up on purpose, responding to the challenge of the moment with a yes and purposeful response. And when I focus on my response, outcomes tend to take care of themselves. Not because I controlled them, but because I gave them to God and I focused on my response. So my purpose is my compass. All right. I've got a few personal stories here, but maybe they come up in questions. I want to be super respectful of time and leave some time for Q&A. So this is me working with a player at the World Cup. There's a great story there. Maybe we'll get to it. Me with the head coach after we got out of our group at the World Cup. There's a story there if we get to it. And there's my info. I'm just going to put it on the screen real fast. If anyone wants to take down, Mike, feel free to pass along.